Good morning, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Alpa Sharma and this is our daily editorial analysis. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible. Good morning, Abhinav and everyone else waiting for me on YouTube. Am I clearly visible and audible to everyone? Very good morning. Very good morning. I hope all of you are doing great today. Good morning, Mahita. Can you hear and see me clearly in the app and on YouTube as well? Good morning. Is it fine in the app? Abhinav, Mahita, Ragini, does it look good in the app? YouTube, everything looks good. Yes, in the app as well. Yes, audible and visible. Okay, something went wrong with the studio yesterday. That's why it was buffering in the app. But today it looks absolutely great. You are going to love both the articles that I have bought today. So let me tell you what the sources of these two articles are. Kya ho raha hai bhai? Okay. So the two articles that I bought today, the first article is from the Hindu and the text and context. This is the source of the article. And the second article is from the New York Times. So this is a breath of fresh air from the entire saga over COP26. Okay, so you're going to love this article as well, and this has my heart. I love this article today. So we're going to be discussing these two articles. Lots of vocabulary, 3 slides full of vocabulary today. In the end, we're going to be discussing the tone of the author. आज कोशिश करना सब लोग summary लिखो. I'll be checking each summary. ठीक है? Everyone, please try to write down the summary under my video in the comment section. Because both the articles are tricky. So the second one is not as tricky. But I would expect you to write the summary under my video in the comment section. And in the end, we'll look at important articles from various sources, because not only Hindu and Indian Express, we will also see the New York Times, the Aeon and everything else where important articles have come up. Purva, yes, I missed your message. I'm going to reply to that today in the Telegram, okay? I'm going to do that. बहुत सारे लोगों का Telegram में बहुत सारे messages pending है बच्चे. I'll reply to them today. Okay? So let's start with our vocabulary. Ready, everyone? I have a bit of cold today. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Okay, so let's have a look at the vocabulary from today's class. Ye kya aa gaya? Oh, I was actually preparing a slide for tomorrow's class. Revision of important articles and events. So these were some important events I had noted down. I'm going to make it even longer, but आज ये discuss नहीं करेंगे, ठीक है? अच्छा, by the way, looking at this, can you guess ये कौन से month का prepare कर रही हूँ मैं important articles? Let me see आप कितना GK remember करते हो. Which month important articles are these? बहुत easy है. Beijing Winter Olympics. Meta's platform shares. बहुत easy है. Guess करो. Let me see who remembers it. Everyone knows this, right? That we are going to be having last 6 months important events, important articles revision tomorrow. December, January, December. It's from February. So we'll start with February and then we'll go back. Okay? विकास प्लीज यहां फिर से पोस्ट कर दीजिए क्वेश्चन. बहुत पुराने वीडियोस में मेरे से मिस हो जाता है. आप आज फिर से एक बार पोस्ट कर दीजिए, मैं आज रिप्लाई कर दूंगी, ठीक है? ये फेब का आर्टिकल्स है, फेब 15 डेज के आर्टिकल्स हैं ये, और बहुत सारे और एड ऑन करके लेके आऊंगी मैं. अभी मेरी स्लाइड कंप्लीट नहीं हुई. आई विल मेक देम टुडे, ठीक है? सो आगे चलते हैं, ये कल डिस्कस करेंगे. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विथ द वोकैबुलरी फ्रॉम टुडेज क्लास. सो फर्स्ट स्लाइड, वी हैव 3 slides today. The first one is conduct. Conduct is your behavior, how you behave. Okay, in a specific situation, what's your behavior is your conduct. They were arrested for disorderly conduct. Unka behavior disorderly tha. It was not according to the requirement, and that's why they were arrested. So their behavior is their conduct here. Okay. The second word is coerce. So when you forcefully make somebody do something by using threat or by using force, is coercion. He was coerced into giving evidence. Force किया था उसको. Maybe उल्टा लटका दिया था. And third degree torture की evidence दे दो. So when the person is unwilling and when you make the person willing by using force or threat is coercion. I'm sure आप coercion अच्छे से जानते होगे. Manner is quirk is conduct. Yes, it is. How you carry oneself is behavior, manners, etiquette, all of that is conduct. Correct. Yeah. So persuade is a positive word, Tanu, for coerce. Coerce is the negative one. Do you know what is HAL? Do you know the full form of it? Indian HAL? HAL is just next to my house. So I hear the sonic booms. I hear rockets kind of sounds. It's not rocket, obviously. It's a jet plane flying over my head. So yes, Diya, you got that right. That is the article. Yeah. Yeah, Purva. Exactly. Yes, Eshan. So that's just next to my house. So sonic boom is actually not very rare here. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Yeah, exactly, Abhinav. That's what HAL is. Decorum for conduct is correct. Okay. Then the next one, unleashing is uncovering. Basically, not necessarily uncovering. It's basically leash क्या होता है? Leash is usually जो आप dogs के गले में देखते हो ना, और वो क्यों होता है? उनको control करने के लिए, ठीक है? और गले में साथ में जो collar होता है उसके साथ में एक leash tied होती है. So unleashing is basically unrestrained. Control से free कर देना किसी चीज को is, और release कर देना किसी चीज को is unleashing. So the failure of the talks could unleash more fighting. It could disclose, it could open up a lot of fighting. That's unleashing. विकास है बट यहां मैं टेलीग्राम नाम इट्स अल्पा. आई डोंट नो, आपको अल्पा नाम से बहुत सारे लोग मिल सकते हैं. आई थिंक आई नीड टू मेक अ यूनिक नेम ऑन टेलीग्राम सो दैट एवरीवन कैन फाइंड मी. सो विकास यहाँ मेरे कमेंट सेक्शन में पोस्ट कर देना, मैं आज रिप्लाई कर दूंगी. ओके हाँ, लाइक पट्टा. एग्जैक्टली, दैट्स कॉल्ड अ कॉलर. दैट पट्टा इज कॉल्ड अ कॉलर. Okay, so Ria, because BYJU'S head office is in Bangalore. Okay, unleashing can be exonerate. It's a related word, not an exact synonym. Unfettered, yes. Yes, crubby girl, correct. Reveal, emancipate. That's a positive word for unleashing, correct. Correct, absolutely correct. Revealing, expose for unleashing is correct. Unbind, releasing is correct. Alright, the next word is dystopian. ये word हमने बहुत बार किया. Utopian, dystopian. Utopian, a world full of beautiful things. Best of the world is a utopian world. Something only in imagination. And dystopian world, George Orwell's favorite. Yes. So dystopian world is a world that's full of suffering. We currently live in a dystopian world. Probably we are. Slide number 1. Take a very quick screenshot. Unbridled, Abhinav, very good for unleashing. Unconstrained, unrestrained, unfettered, बिल्कुल correct. चारों बिल्कुल correct हैं. Full of suffering is dystopian. Yes, that is dystopian. Simrila, dystopian with a Y, not with an I. Despotism, liberate, unleashing के लिए हो गया. Suffering for dystopian. No, Shafi, no, not at all. Not at all. I can't teach these chota bachcha. I can't. I am going to lose the remaining weight that I have. I can't be doing that. Let's move to the second slide. Slide number 2. Totalitarian. सुनने में ना बहुत positive word है, but this is not at all a positive word. Totalitarian government is a government or a philosophy that believes that everything should be in the government's control. Dictatorial form of government is totalitarian. So a totalitarian regime, can you give me an example of a country that has a totalitarian regime? गिव मी एन एग्जांपल ऑफ अ टोटलिटेरियन गवर्नमेंट. ओलिगार्की भी करेंगे सर, कि ओलिगार्की थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट होता है. ऑटोक्रेसी, डिक्टेटरशिप, मोनोपोली, ये सब एग्जांपल्स हो गए टोटलिटेरियन के. फासिज्म, यस सखी, यस शफी, एग्जैक्टली. चाइना नहीं, नॉर्थ कोरिया इज अ बेटर एग्जांपल. अफगानिस्तान भी कुछ कुछ है, यस. चाइना, चाइना को टोटलिटेरियन बोलोगे? नहीं बच्चे, इतने लोग चाइना रिप्लाई कर रहे हैं. चाइना इज नॉट टोटलिटेरियन. नो, आई वुड डिसअग्री. इट्स नॉर्थ कोरिया, slightly it's Afghanistan as well, but not China. China totalitarian कैसे हो गया? Saudi, yes. North Korea is an example. Correct. All right. China, why? In the app as well, why do you guys say China? China is communist. Exactly. वो totalitarian नहीं है. Exactly. China is communist. Good morning, Muskan. हाँ, देखो, see, I understand your feelings कि आप ऐसा क्यों बोल रहे हो. हाँ, रशिया भी कम्युनिस्ट है, एब्सोल्युटली. तालिबान को मान सकते हो आप. I think that's a point of contention now. I think I'll have to speak to Abhimanyu sir to decide if China can be called a totalitarian government or not. So, totalitarian मेरे हिसाब से नहीं होना चाहिए, but we'll still discuss. Propaganda, using misinformation. When you spread a fake news, when you spread misinformation and create a ruckus out of it, हमारे country में ये बहुत होता है. We love propagandas in our country. जब mob lynching start हुआ था हमारे country में, तो propaganda was one of the most important words. So he was charged with distributing enemy propaganda, that is fake news, misleading information, misinformation to change people's point of view is a propaganda. Propaganda हमारी सारी political parties करती है, all of them. कोई नहीं बचा है propaganda से. कोई एक टाइम था जब मैं एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के लिए सोचती थी कि ये नई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी आई है, आई विल नॉट टेक द नेम, कि ये प्रोपेगेंडा नहीं करेगी. सैडली वो भी प्रोपेगेंडा में इंडल्ज हो गया. सो रूमर, हियरसे, रपंजन, मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन, ऑल ऑफ दैट्स प्रोपेगेंडा. यस, ड्रामा रिलेटेड वन. माइंड वॉशिंग, यस. नहीं 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 बच्चे, प्रचार अलग हो गया बच्चे. एडवर्टाइजिंग एंड प्रचार नव्या डिफरेंट होता है. वो तो एक पॉजिटिव कनोटेशन के साथ आता है. Propaganda comes with a negative connotation. Okay? क्योंकि प्रोपेगेंडा हमेशा मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन पे डिपेंडेंट होता है. नहीं अंबिका, नॉर्थ कोरिया, नॉट साउथ कोरिया. नहीं, नॉर्थ कोरिया. ओके ओके. मॉब लिंचिंग क्या होता है मैं नहीं बताऊंगी. नो, नॉट बिकॉज आई डोंट वांट टू say the meaning. It is because I don't want to start any conversation about mob lynchings. Last word, no, second last word, oligarchy. So oligarchy, archy is a form of government, like monarchy, a form of rule. Oligarchy is the rule by a small group of people. Okay? बार बार वही लोग रूल करते रहते हैं. उसी का फैमिली मेंबर कोई आ जाएगा, उसी का कोई भाई आ जाएगा, बंधु आ जाएगा, वो रूल करेगा. वही लोग बार बार पावर में आते रहते हैं. मम्मा नहीं तो बेटा, बेटा नहीं तो मम्मा. आज मेरे ऊपर केस होने वाला है. That's an example of oligarchy. Okay? हाँ, साउथ कोरिया is democracy. Yes. भूल गए mob lynching. वैभव. Sri Lanka. Yes, like in Sri Lanka. Correct. That's an example. श्रीलंका. ओके, मैंने नहीं बोला कांग्रेस. प्लूटोक्रेसी एंड ओलिगार्की आर नॉट रिलेटेड बच्चे. प्लूटोक्रेसी सिर्फ वेल्दी लोग ही रूल करते हैं. जैसे हमारे कंट्री में अगर हमने अंबानीज को दे दिया रूल और अंबानीज ही बार बार रूल में आ रहे तो वो ओलिगार्की बन गया. बट अंबानीज की जगह जिंदल्स आ सकते हैं, कोई और आ सकता है, टाटाज आ सकते हैं, सिर्फ रिच लोगों को रूल दिया जाता है. दैट इज ओलिगार्की. ओके, सॉरी, दैट इज प्लूटोक्रेसी. प्लूटो इज वेल्थ. ओके, सो what happened in Kashmir before the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits? Propaganda? Yes. Yes, Sri Lanka is in a bad state. Last one, unprecedented. आज तक कभी सुना नहीं, आज तक कभी देखा नहीं. This is unprecedented, never known before, is unprecedented. Now, nepotism is different. Nepotism is favoritism. तुम मेरे स्टूडेंट हो, तुम सबसे बेस्ट हो, तुम ही सिलेक्ट होगे क्लैट में और कोई नहीं होगा. ये नेपोटिज्म ही तो है, और बच्चे भी तो मेहनत कर रहे होंगे ना. दैट्स अ परफेक्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ नेपोटिज्म. हाउ टू डू इंग्लिश फॉर एलिट? डू vocab and grammar more than you do for CLAT. Okay, never done before, never known before, unknown, unprecedented, unpredictable. Yes. Okay. Slide number 2, जल्दी स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो सब लोग. लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. अच्छा, बिफोर आई शो यू द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, लाइक माय सेशन राइट नाउ, गुरु दक्षिणा दे दो जल्दी जल्दी से, देन विल मूव टू द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. ये भूला मत करो बच्चे, आते ही लाइक कर देना चाहिए. ओके, स्मॉल जिस्ट ऑफ जूलियन असांज स्टोरी. इट इज इन न्यूज टुडे. ओ ओ ओ ओ ओके, क्लास के एंड में दो. दिवजोत एक बार याद दिलाना मुझे, आपको स्टोरी बता दूंगी, मैं बैकग्राउंड बता दूंगी वन लाइन में, ठीक है? क्लास के एंड में जस्ट रिमाइंड मी व्हेन आई शो यू द टुडेज न्यूज़पेपर्स, जस्ट रिमाइंड मी. ओके, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, स्लाइड नंबर 3. मेनिस इज बेसिकली डिस्टर्बेंस, जो हर कुछ बर्बाद करना चाहता है. डेनिस द मेनिस कार्टून था, वो ही डिस्ट्रॉयज एवरीथिंग. मोस्ट ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन आर अ मेनिस, बट उसको हम सोसाइटी के फॉर्म में कैसे देखेंगे? सो एनीथिंग दैट्स डेंजरस और अ थ्रेट टू अस इज अ मेनिस. Africa's elephants are still menaced by poaching, so they are in danger because of poaching. So anything that's in danger or as something that is seen as a threat is a menace. All right. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for liking. Yes. Okay. The next one, master, is to collect. Master courage. Collect all your courage and go for it. Assemble is also muster. The city council was unable to muster enough votes to pass the measure. It could not collect enough votes. So simple. Assimilation, assembling, collect, all of that, these are synonyms. Threat, appalling. For menace, yes. Hostility, threatening. Tanu, correct. Susceptible, correct, Hemendra. For menace. Suffering is also a related word to menace. It is. UK has decided to extradite him. That happened long back. The decision was taken long back. It would have been delayed. The implication or the application of the decision would have been delayed, but the decision was taken long back. So finally, I think the extradition is happening soon. That's why it's in news. All right. Palpable. Palpable is something imaginary, but the imagination is so strong, or something that's intangible, but the intangible thing is so strong that you feel as if you can actually touch it. You are actually able to feel it. That's palpable. Okay, so the palpable bump at the bridge of the nose, so you could possibly touch and feel it. Almost you're able to touch it. It could be imaginary, it could be in reality, but it's so strong that you can actually feel it. That's palpable. We've done this word in the past. Tangible, yes, palpable, absolutely, yes. Yes, Shivam, absolutely, it is. Okay. Oh, all right, Gulshan, I might have missed that. Next word is fickleness. So fickleness is uselessness, worthlessness, a behavior that's so reckless is fickleness. So that's no sentence for it. So the fickleness is carelessness, uselessness, worthlessness, irresponsible. Discernible for palpable is correct. Futile, correct. For feckless, good for nothing. Useless, undermine, correct. All of these are synonyms. Okay. Last word for this slide, antipathy. जल्दी से एक बार root words कर लेते हैं. Path means to feel. Sympathy, feeling sad for somebody. Apathy, no feeling at all. Antipathy, feeling of hatred or aversion is antipathy. His fundamental antipathy to capitalism, he probably hated capitalism or was had a feeling of aversion to capitalism. That's antipathy. Okay, hate, yes, that's antipathy, correct. Hate, aversion, all of these are antipathy. Okay, slide number 3, jaldi se screenshot le lo. Panopticon, पहले root word करेंगे उसका और फिर article पढ़ेंगे. Lovely article, lovely. Okay, now see, all those people who are watching me live, let me tell you two things before I show you the article today. The first thing is that tomorrow and every Friday now onwards, I'll start with the revision of last 6 months important articles. If you've missed out on them, I'll start with February, then I'll go to January and I'll go backward, okay? So I'll give you important topics of the month, I'll give you important articles of the month from all the sources. Hindu, Indian Express, Aeon, Guardian, New York Times, सबसे collect करके 1 hour long class होगा. Attend that if you were not regular with the classes in the past few months. Still attend that if you were regular so that you don't miss out on them. Okay? ये बहुत important articles है, दोनों perspective से, GK के भी और reading comprehension के भी. Second, yesterday at 12:30 class on the BBA platform, I took half of the mock test analysis. We solved a mock together. The second half is going to happen today. So make sure you don't miss out on the 12:30 class on the BBA YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep. So we'll solve a mock together. Okay? These are the two things. Totalitarian और oligarchy different होता बच्चा. Totalitarian तो एक ideology होती है जहां सारा control government के पास होता है. Oligarchy में सारा control शायद government के पास ना हो, लेकिन कुछ ही लोग बार बार पावर में आते हैं. वो totalitarian हो ये जरूरी नहीं है. Of course you should, Diya, you should, because 23 का भी जो articles होगा वो इन्हीं से related होगा. So आपके दिमाग में एक स्टोरी, जैसे जूलियन असांज की स्टोरी है, ही इज इन न्यूज टुडे, बट वो पिछले 10 सालों से न्यूज में है. तो अगर कोई लिंक बनता है आपके दिमाग में, इट्स बेनिफिशियल फॉर यू. ओके कार्तिक, दैट्स इन द शेड्यूल. ओके, ऑल राइट. 10 AM टाइमिंग, 10 AM. Chalo, let's move on with the article. But before that, Super Summer Jackpot Sale, 25% off on all our online classroom programs. You're targeting any of the law entrance examinations, use the code JACKPOT25. Enroll yourself right away. Don't be late. Plus, we've launched a new batch for CLAT 2023. If you're targeting the December CLAT, look no further. Jaldi se enroll kar lo. Time बहुत कम है आपके पास. Okay, let's break the word. Panopticism. Okay, pan is the first root word, which means all. Panoramic picture लेते हो, सब sides की picture लेते हो, 360 degree. Yes. Then we have pan India, पूरा India cover करोगे, that's pan. Optic, optic का मतलब क्या होता है? Optic can be your vision. Yes. So panopticonism is an ideology that arises out of a word panopticon. What was panopticon? Before I tell you what was panopticon, do you remember every time I had to take an article? Yes, pan is all. Okay? So optic is vision, correct, view. Every time I had to take an article on hate speech, on the hijab row, you knew how scared I was. I kept repeating a statement. I just hope they don't charge me with UAPA. Why would I be so scared? Why? The answer would be given to you in the end of the passage. Let's understand what is panopticon. Panopticon से ही एक ideology निकला, panopticonism. Okay? So, panopticon is basically a circular building, something like this, okay? A circular building with cells built into it, cells like jail into it. It's circular walls with an observational tower at the center. So, बहुत सारे jails हैं in a circular form and बीच में एक circular tower है जिसमें बहुत सारा एक observational tower है basically. A guard could observe every move of the prisoner in each cell from the observational tower. But can the prisoners see the guard? No, they cannot. So, is it necessary that the guard is watching them at all times? No. But will the prisoners behave themselves? Yes, they would, because they would always have it in their minds that some guard is watching me. Because they will always think somebody is keeping a check on me, and if I violate something, I'll be punished. So even if nobody is watching you, you'll have a fear in your mind that a guard is watching me and I might be punished for a wrongdoing. The prisoners in turn could see the tower but could not see anything inside it on account of the difference in height as well as the shutters and blinds. So they could not see the guard watching them. The ambiguity about whether or not they were being observed forced the prisoners to conduct themselves inside their cells with the assumption that the guards could be observing them at any moment. I'm sure आपको पता होगा यहाँ assumption क्या है. There was always an assumption in the prisoner's head that the guard is watching them. They were not sure, but the assumption was always there, and that's why they behaved themselves. आगे क्या हुआ? अभी तक समझाया नहीं मैंने panopticonism क्या theory है. I'll tell you. This was a perfect idea for a prison, according to Bentham, as it was visible yet unverifiable. It was visible that there's a supervision on me, but I could not verify it that am I actually being supervised? I could not verify that. He believed that the fear of constant surveillance could help bring order and discipline. Of course, सिर्फ वो डर था उनके माइंड में, वो assumption था उनके माइंड में. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Tanu. वो ऊपर वाला देख रहा है, ये वही चीज है. Exactly, Saki. It's a type of secret surveillance. This is from the text and context of Hindu. And because of the fear, the constant fear they had in their minds, they would abide by the order and discipline. They would alter and reform groups and preserve morals inside the four walls of the prison. So without physically and rather without using coercion and threat, they could make the prisoners abide by the rules and regulations and the conduct they expect from the prisoners. So Foucault takes the architectural structure, the structure of panopticon, and transforms it into a philosophical theory that helps us understand how the idea of surveillance and power relationship between individuals and systems of social control changed post-panopticon. That is when panopticon was discovered and when panopticon was used as a method of controlling and supervising the prisoners. After that, the governments started using this way of monitoring the individuals and making sure that there's a social control over them. So, they are being watched. An advocate of an individual freedom, he believed that visibility was a trap. Like this panopticon was a trap. Probably 24 hours there was no guard. It was a trap. Your mind kept telling you that you're being watched. Behave properly. This panopticon was a trap. This visibility that, okay, I am naked. Everybody can see what I'm doing. मुझसे ज़्यादा कौन जानता है? YouTube पे मुझे इतना कुछ सोच समझ के बोलना होता है. Sometimes my daughter barges in, so my visibility is a trap, and that would coerce people into disciplining themselves and behaving in a way that pleased the system. अब देखो, how do I behave? If I'm being watched, I would behave in a manner the surveillance expects me to behave in, which might be right according to me, which might be wrong according to me. Now, getting back to the idea, when I had to take articles on hate speech, I wanted to talk so much. I wanted to say so much. I refrained from doing that because I had to behave in a manner where the manner which the authority expects me to follow. The authority is not BYJU'S Exam Prep. No, the authority is the government. And that's why I kept saying, I just hope I'm not being charged with UAPA. So it's a trap that would coerce people into disciplining themselves and behaving in a way that pleased systems of power and knowledge. Foucault explains how such invisible observation helps system of control beyond prison structure. How? Let's see. If invisible surveillance features are installed in society, direct control नहीं है कि बाहर गार्ड लगा दिया है, घर से बाहर नहीं निकल सकते हो, कोविड पॉजिटिव हो. No. That's invisible control. People will self-regulate themselves, assuming that they are being constantly observed even when there is no one observing them. Here you're observing me. But if I sit at my home and I browse something, mob lynching कैसे करते हैं? क्या होगा? I'll have a fear in my mind that I'm being constantly watched. This makes panoptic surveillance more economical and efficient in total surveillance. Economical, of course, you don't have to put in a lot of money. You don't have to follow them. You don't have to necessarily show them that you're watching them. But you have to instill the fear in the mind that they are being watched. Don't you believe in democracy? That's the only thing I believe in, Shafi. The only thing I believe in. Okay? So, getting back to the idea of panopticon here, it was a low cost. आपको बताने की जरूरत नहीं है, देखो मैं तुम्हें वॉच कर रहा हूं, मेरा सर्वेलेंस तुम्हारे साथ हर जगह है. You don't have to tell people. It's economical, it's highly efficient as well. You would see people abiding by that. I loved this article. You know, this is exactly what I feel. Ashi, I'll address that by the end of the class, bache. Okay? So this is one way attainment of information. Of course, it's one way. You don't provide them. They take it from you, which can be further used to control citizens. Let's start talking about 1984. I'm sure most of you have read the book already. Okay, the difference between panoptic and total surveillance. See, total surveillance is, so panoptic is an example of total surveillance, where the prisoners were watched, supervised, or surveillance was done. There could be other ways of total surveillance as well, like the government would do by taking your Aadhaar card details, your biometrics, Pegasus. These are examples of total surveillance. Okay. Now, let's talk about 1984 by George Orwell. The Big Brother, remember? So basically this book, all those people who haven't read the book, first I'll highly recommend you start reading the book after your exams are done. Okay, if you haven't read that yet. The book basically talks about a dystopian world where a big brother is always watching you. Always. Big Brother series like Big Boss. Big Boss dekh rahe hai sab kuch. वैसे ही same, the Big Brother is watching everything. Okay? Throughout the book, the author mentions the Big Brother who is always watching. The Big Brother is the governance. And how citizens in the fictional totalitarian state, Oceania, seem to be living in a virtual prison controlled by technology and propaganda. Country है, but it's like virtual prison. सब कोई prison में है. कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता अपने मन से. वही करेगा जो authority demand करती है. It's a totalitarian government in 1984. People seem hesitant to talk or even think against the oligarchy, not because they see a policeman or a guard watching over them. No, there's no physical person or physical surveillance. No. But the fear in their head that there could be a spy amidst them listening to their thoughts. And the spy could be your own child as well. तो वो अपने घर में भी बात नहीं कर सकते हैं, because anybody could be a spy, not necessarily a physical one. So that's the idea here. Yes. So that's the idea, that the big brother is watching at all the times. That's what happened in 1984. Do you think the brilliance, can you imagine the brilliance George Orwell had when he wrote the book 1984? हम ऐसा ही कुछ कुछ देखते हैं ना आजकल. The big brother is watching. The spy is watching. Folk all believe that the panopticonism, the idea of somebody watching you all the time, so you don't say anything unnecessarily, don't do anything unnecessarily, that the government, that the authority would not like, would spread and have unprecedented consequences in the society, as systems of control would use it for their benefit. Of course, the government, I don't say it's the existing government or the older one, it could be any one of them, all of them are corrupt. But the government would use it for their own benefit at the cost of individual freedom. The perfect example is a Pegasus. Perfect example. राइट टू प्रिवेसी. बच्चे, पेगासस के टाइम हमने पूछा था राइट टू प्रिवेसी कहां गया था? हमने नहीं पूछा था, और पूछा भी था तो वो डिस्कार्ड कर दिया गया था. हम टेररिज्म के लिए कर रहे हैं, ये भी नहीं बोला था. हमको नहीं पता ये कौन कर रहा, हम तो नहीं कर रहे ऐसा कुछ भी. तो राइट टू प्रिवेसी तो है, बिल्कुल सब जगह है, प्रिजनर्स की भी है. But sometimes, giving the example of controlling terrorism and uncalled for circumstances in the society, you can be washed upon. So, as predicted by Foucault, panopticonism has spread in unexpected ways in our society. The present day CCTV camera is a candid example of how the theory works. एक secret बताती हूँ. आपको पता है मेरे घर में एक CCTV लगा हुआ which does not work. Why did I install it? Because I have a maid who takes care of my daughter in the evening. And that does not work. Is that an example of panopticonism? I'm being blunt here. That's... Give me a minute. That's a perfect example of panopticonism. Okay? So the CCTV camera is a candid example of how theory works, with people being cautious about how they behave, irrespective of whether the camera is functional. It, for instance, inculcates more fear among students writing an exam. कोई physical invigilator नहीं है ना, तो भी आप cheating नहीं करोगे because you know somebody is watching you. Absolutely, yes, Purva, it's super easy. Yes, yes, Karthik, it does wonders. डर, इससे डर होता है माइंड में, if nothing. Okay, there's a question. Why would government want to see our data? Who's going to answer this? There's a question in the app. Why would government want to see our data? Huh? No, the maid isn't there here. She does not watch my YouTube lives. Why does the government want to see our data? कौन बताएगा? Who's going to answer this? Why would the government be interested? To counter whether terrorism activities are being held? That could be a pretentious reason. To see if we are a threat to them. Exactly. To see if we are a threat to them, or we have an anti-national attitude. Hey भगवान, तो मुझे आज ये वीडियो आज मुझे बंद करनी पड़ेगी. Seeing our data would allow the government to manipulate us to vote for them? Yes, absolutely. So that they can keep a record for what? For propagandas, to keep a check on the criminals, to keep a check on people who would benefit their own political party, to manipulate voters? Yes. to check if somebody is not going against them. Yes, all of these are reasons. Vote ke liye. Exactly. Correct. Data survey mahita, ये भी एक pretentious reason हो सकता है. So, psychologist Shoshana took the concept further. She said surveillance capitalism, which is a system of surveillance that was extended to marketing. Surveillance capitalism क्या होता है? This website will save your cookies. That's surveillance capitalism. Capitalistic market है, सबको अपने प्रोडक्ट सेल करने हैं, सबको अपने प्रॉफिट मैक्सिमाइज करने हैं. So you will get ads according to your search history. Google saves your search history, understand? And then flight rates would increase according to your search history. Everything is dependent on the cookies that are being saved. It's a system of surveillance that was extended to marketing. Computers and mobile phones be a medium for monitoring one's actions, what you search for. An individual's performance at the workplace is recorded and monitored through their keystrokes. Government can track our phones and keep a record of our biometrics in the name of preventing terrorism. According to the author, this is a pretentious reason. The actual reason are what we've discussed. As a marketing strategy, social media platforms tap into our search histories. And then Facebook में कुछ ad आ जाता है because आपने कुछ search किया था किसी website पे. I was looking for mangoes. अभी मुझे हर जगह mangoes के ads आते हैं. हर जगह mangoes के ads. Alfonso this rate, Kesar this rate. Yes, Samarth. Exactly. बिल्कुल यही बोल रही थी मैं. Mangoes के ads आते हैं मुझे. So this sort of monitoring. देखो, I'm such a simple person. मुझे politics से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. मेरे को mangoes खाने हैं सिर्फ. Exactly. What page you visit and then what you watching and liking और उसी according Instagram पे ads आते हैं. So this sort of monitoring and data collection is analogous to the panopticon because it is one way information avenue. हम provide नहीं कर रहे हैं, वो ले रहे हैं और उनके according वो दे रहे हैं अपने ads. Where systems of power use technology to monitor and even control our likes and dislikes. Everything is recorded. Though the act of giving our fingerprints for an Aadhaar card or giving access to our location and our contact list to almost every mobile application we download, almost every will try to access your CLAT का ad भी आता है, BYJU'S का ad भी आता है. हाँ, मुझे दिखाता है अल्पा शर्मा का ad, मुझे आता है. So certainly your phones know better than you. So that is when you provide your contact details, your Aadhaar card, your biometrics. These are methods of invisible surveillance that control us on a daily basis. The panopticon thus comes alive through new technologies and innovations that curtail our freedom. The tone of the author. What's the tone? I'm sure you loved the article today. Tone bataiye. Yes, this is algorithm. Absolutely, Vikash. Tone of the author, everyone. Yes, yes, Tanu, exactly. Expository? Yeah, yes, it's expository. Agreed. The tone is expository. It tries to explain how panopticon can actually be seen in the current scenario. Okay, that's expository. बिल्कुल correct है. Let's have a look at the next article. ठीक है? So, gas glow meat, COP26, सबका aim क्या है? What is the aim that they have? I'm sure all of you know this. Just help me remind that. सबका aim क्या है? What do they want? What is their aim? Oh, Movies, that's crazy. I would love to do that. What is the aim of these groups, these meetings. Climate change. Climate change को control करना. But let's have a breath of fresh air. Last few days to enroll for CLAT 2022 crash course batch 3. लेट मत करो, बहुत ही कम टाइम है. अभी भी एनरोल कर लोगे तो शायद सिलेक्शन हो जाएगा, नहीं करोगे तो शायद नहीं होगा. जल्दी से सिलेक्ट अभी एनरोल कर लो क्योंकि सेल भी है 25%. लेट मत करना. Enough of climate change. Air pollution is killing us now. बहुत हो गया climate change. You've forgotten air pollution. When we were younger, at least when I was younger, in my school, when I was in 5th, 6th grade, we used to make projects on air pollution. It used to be a chapter in our school book. Today, we are constantly talking about climate change. It's the Guardian's favorite topic to talk about climate change. मैंने इतनी बार आर्टिकल लिया climate change पे. But the author says, no, air pollution is the new threat. This is killing us. Don't forget this. This will kill you even before climate change would kill you. Deal with that before everything else. Yes, net zero emission. So, but yahan, the idea is different. The idea is that we don't want climate change. So basically the article is not from the perspective of India. So it's not the Indian Supreme Court that we are referring to because ये New York Times का article है. ठीक है? So, but हम इसको India के perspective से पढ़ सकते हैं. In the early weeks of the coronavirus pandemic in 2020, doctors noticed a surprising silver lining. COVID, surge, pandemic, and what is the silver lining here? Americans were having fewer heart attacks. That's surprising. What could be a reason? One likely reason, according to the analysis published last month by researchers at the University of California, San Francisco, is that people were inhaling less air pollution. That led to fewer heart attacks. Millions of workers were staying home because there was a lockdown and they were not driving to work, so there was less pollution. Americans, आप न्यूयॉर्क की बात कर रहे हैं, सैन फ्रांसिस्को की बात कर रहे हैं. Let's talk about Delhi. Delhi was never so clean as it was during the pandemic, during the lockdown. So when I used to drive from Jaipur to Delhi, the moment I reached Manesar, you would see far in the distance the sky getting darker. And it used to look like you're entering fog. Sudden entrance of fog. And I'm not kidding about that. I could visibly see that with my own eyes. But similarly, it was clearer because of the lockdown. They were not driving to work. Americans were suddenly burning a lot less gas because they were not using their cars. And across the country, the researchers found that regions with larger drops in pollution also had larger drops in heart attacks. That's a silver lining. So lesser pollution, lesser heart attacks. Let's go on. Let's understand that. Yes, Sakhi, absolutely correct. Yes, air pollution is the elephant in the room. Abhinav, I'm so proud of you for using this. It's the elephant in the room. Everybody knows it, but no one is talking about that. The menace of air pollution doesn't command public attention as it did in the 1960s. I mean, मैं 1960s में अपनी 5th 6th में नहीं थी जब मैं air pollution पढ़ती थी, but तब ये एक fad होता था talking about air pollution. Thick, smog yellowed urban skies. But evidence has piled up in recent years that the real progress the US has made in reducing air pollution isn't nearly good enough. So probably we are actually ignoring this. We're focusing on a larger problem, that's climate change, ozone layer holes, and the world getting warmer. But are we actually considering air pollution as a menace? Probably we aren't. Air pollution is a lot deadlier than we previously understood. And in particular, studies like the analysis of heart attacks during the pandemic show that the concentration of air pollution currently permitted by federal policy are still far too high. That means we are not even close to controlling air pollution. I'll tell you something very personal. One of the most important reasons why I left my family, my friends in Delhi was this. That was air pollution. I could not bear bringing my child. I gave birth to my child in Delhi. And I could not bear the sight of the pollution where I could not take her out to parks and play because it was winters and it was smog and it was toxic. I could not bear the sight. That is one reason why I built a house in Uttarakhand, because I wanted to be away from all this dirt. So in assessment of the recent research, but can we run away from all this? We can't. We need to pay attention to that. In an assessment of recent research, the World Health Organization concluded last year that the air pollution is the single largest environmental. WHO says that, but we forgot that it is the single largest environmental threat to human health and well-being. Single largest. We seem to have forgotten that. Yep. Now, let's continue. Let's see what happens next. The low quality of the air that we breathe should be regarded as a crisis. It also presents an opportunity. How can this crisis be an opportunity? The low quality air, how can that be an opportunity? पता है जब भी ऐसी लाइन आती है ना आपको खुद को पूछना चाहिए how can that be an opportunity? That's mindful reading, not randomly reading, carelessly reading. You ask yourself कि ये crisis तो है, ये opportunity कैसे हो सकती है भाई? The existential threat of climate change has come to dominate debates about environmental regulation. Proposals to curb emission, once presented as public health measure, are now billed as efforts to limit global warming. So it's an opportunity that we can work on both the perspectives, controlling global warming as well as air pollution. The solution to both threats is the same. Both the threats are global warming and air pollution. The solution is the same. We need to stop burning our fossil fuels. The lesser burning will cause lesser global warming and lesser air pollution. So it's an opportunity for us. We can utilize ek teer do nishar. We can do it together. But there is cause to wonder whether a greater focus on immediate dangers posed by air pollution rather than the more distant specter of global warming. Air pollution का threat imminent है. Global warming का long term है. Possibly our next generation would suffer because of that. Your next generation rather might help to muster the necessary support for changes that are going to be expensive and disruptive. So we need to focus right now more on air pollution than on the global warming. There are many reasons the world is failing to respond adequately to climate change. But surely one difference between the crisis and, for example, the global effort to close the hole in the ozone layer in the 1980s is motivating value to clear the present danger. So, 1980s में ozone layer में hole हुआ. We wanted to close the hole. We have forgotten that, and we need to respond to that as soon as possible. Some effects of climate change already are palpable. We can feel it, we can touch it and see. We can see it with our own eyes. Of course, the melting of glaciers, the ice frost melting, the cover melting. Yes, we can see that visibly. But the worst is still in the future. Of course, warnings about climate change are predictions, and even if they are taken seriously, people may be indifferent to quality of life in 2100. Of course. अरे मेरी नेक्स्ट जनरेशन कैसे सफर करेगी, मुझे उससे क्या प्रॉब्लम है? I'll take my car, I'll burn fuel, I'll go far-flung places. Why will I care? Or at least unwilling to do anything about that. They might be more motivated to save their own lives. To save their own lives, I think air pollution, right now, dealing with that is more important. When you deal with air pollution, you also deal with global warming. You also deal with the temperature changes. In the face of congressional feckleness and judicial antipathy, the Biden administration needs to make forceful use of its legal powers to confront the menace of air pollution. It's a suggestion. One second. So it's basically a suggestion to the Biden government. It could be a suggestion to our government as well. Focus on air pollution, reduce that. Yes? So, tone of the author, everyone. Tone. Neeti, bachche, please watch the recorded video. It's a very important class. Suggestive, okay. Concerning, certainly. Concerning. Alarming, concerning, theek hai. And suggestive. Correct. Concerning and suggestive is the tone. Everyone who's joined me late, if you haven't liked my session, please do that right now. please share the video. It's a very important class. In the app, please rate me a 5. Sharing today's Hindu and Indian Express in the background. All of the people who've joined me late, 2 important announcements. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., I'll take a revision of the last 6 months' important articles from the editorials of different sources. Hindu, Indian Express, Aeon, Guardian, New York Times. Okay. I will discuss the important topics as well. A little bit of GK, more of articles. And today, 12:30, I'll be discussing a mock with you on the BBA channel. So make sure you don't miss out on that. Sharing today's Hindu and Indian Express in the background, everybody. Not necessarily, Tanu. Yes, from tomorrow. Only every Friday I'll do that. Okay? Every Friday I'll do a revision. Hindu, Indian Express, Aeon, Guardian. So here it is. विकास कमेंट कर दो, रिप्लाई कर दूंगी आज. I'll do that, Purva. Abhinav, exactly. Perfect example. So here are the articles. Skim through this article. Relates to the article we did today. Yeah, it does. Panopticon. Hi, Suhagi. English के लिए कैसे prepare करें? Start with basic fundamentals of grammar for A-Lit and do word power made easy for your vocabulary. Julian Assange story बताती हूँ. So Julian Assange, कल आर्टिकल ले लो एक बार. बताओ, जूलियन असांज का आर्टिकल लेना है कल फिर से? देखते हैं कहाँ है. ये तो इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. वेयर इज द जूलियन असांज आर्टिकल? आया नहीं है. कोई नहीं, मैं बता देती हूँ. सो जूलियन असांज बेसिकली डिड अ विकीलीक्स फाउंडर एंड विकीलीक्स का काम था बहुत सारे सीक्रेट इंफॉर्मेशन लीक करना अबाउट गवर्नमेंट्स. सो इन अ प्रोसेस ऑफ लीकिंग सर्टेन सीक्रेट इंफॉर्मेशन, so Hagi, I can read your message once, bache. Please send it only once. Why? What don't you understand? What is that you want to understand? Text and context में आया, रुको, let me see. I think I'll take the article. See, this is exactly the gist, bache. This is exactly the gist. Because बहुत सारी सीक्रेट इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट आर्मी लीक करी थी जूलियन असांज के वेबसाइट विकी लीक्स ने. ही वाज चार्ज्ड अंडर मल्टीपल एक्ट्स एंड ही हैड टू बी अरेस्टेड फॉर दैट. बट उन्होंने इक्वेडर की एम्बेसी में असाइलम ले लिया और असाइलम लेके वो वहां बहुत साल रहे और असाइलम में ही कुड नॉट मूव आउट एंड इट वाज टॉर्चरस फॉर हिम. बट फाइनली इक्वेडर ने गिव अप किया और असाइलम रिवोक कर दिया और वापस उनका ट्रायल यूके में स्टार्ट हुआ. सो क्योंकि वो एम्बेसी में थे तो वो इक्वेडर के लॉज के अंडर गवर्न होते थे, यूके के लॉज के अंडर गवर्न नहीं हो रहे थे, यूएस के लॉज के अंडर गवर्न नहीं हो रहे थे. बट फाइनली ही वाज अलाउड टू, not allowed, he was asked to leave. He was dragged out of the embassy and then put into the jail for that. Okay. Okay, let's have a look. So I think I'll take this article tomorrow. You can skim through this. I think this is also a good one. Okay. Context देखते हैं. Skim. ये आप छोड़ देते. Here. This is good. Please read this. बच्चे मैं ये कल आर्टिकल्स नहीं ले पाऊंगी. I forgot that. I can't take these articles tomorrow. Okay? I can't take these articles tomorrow. I'll take a revision tomorrow. I'll take this on Monday, okay? And here, skim through it. Let's have a look at the opinion page. Okay, so freebies are a passport to fiscal disaster. Don't read this. Face the fact of communal violence in India. Don't read this. Here's how from Piers Morgan playbook. Skim through it. Initiatives to resuscitate traditional medicine. This is good. Please read this. Please read this, everyone. Don't rush. I'm not trying to buy any Neiman's slippers. No, I'm not. It's a paid subscription. I don't know why. This is also, don't read this. No, none. No new article. That is all. Guardian. None. None. So that's all for today, everyone. I'll see you at 12:30 then. Okay? No. She'll be in school, Ragini. I'll show you, I'll show her on some other day. Okay? Bye, everyone. Have a very good day. God bless all of you.